The idea that the Korean language needs to be purified of various foreign elements is and has been popular among certain influential private organizations, governmental organizations, and individuals for at least the past century. The purpose of this presentation is to describe the history and scope of the efforts of language purism in both the North and South. In this explanation of Korean language purism, a focus will be placed on those features that have become the main targets of the purification movements in both North and South Korea. The issue of the use of Chinese orthography in Korea has long been the target of Korean language purists. But due to its very strong influence in Korean's literary history, the use of the Chinese characters has continued in both North and South Korea amidst the constantly changing policies of both governments. However, it should be noted at this point that this has also been the case for other Asian countries such as Japan and Vietnam.
Ngồi đây anh ngắm sao rơi, nghe trái tim đau, nỗi nhớ trong anh lặng lẽ. Bỗng phút giây ngày xưa bên em trở về, bỗng thấy em ngồi đó như đang chuyện trò. Và rồi em cứ quay đi, không nói năng chi, chỉ biết em không hờn dỗi. Vẫn chúc cho anh mãi luôn luôn thật lòng, để biết anh chạy đến nơi chân trời xa. Nơi chân trời anh mong có em, kề bên anh trong cơn bão giông. Dẫu cho ngày tháng cướp mất tình em lỡ yêu anh, là sẽ đi suốt đời, sẽ không bao giờ cách xa. Trọn đời anh lầm lỡ mãi mãi một lần anh đã mất em trong trái tim. Và anh mong người thứ tha bao nhiêu lỗi lầm, vì biết em không hờn trách đâu. Trọn đời anh lầm lỡ mãi mãi một lần anh đã mất em trong trái tim. Và anh mong người sẽ quay trở về, vì biết anh không để mất em dù chỉ một lần.
In 1987, Chu Sik-young became the first to hold aloft the torch of language purism in Korea. Up to this time, Chinese language and characters had been serving as the high language of the aristocratic elite in literati for hundreds of years, while Korean and its Hangul alphabet were considered low language. In the years after 1945, language purism, and indeed all aspects of Korean language planning, took place within two separate political entities stemming from the division of the Korean nation into the North and the South. North Korea pursued a total purification policy with regard to Chinese characters as part of its government-controlled eradication of illiteracy movements that took place during and after the formation of the North Korean state under leadership of Kim Seung-II. The issue of illiteracy was actually quite serious in the young socialist country. In 1945, only 35% of school-aged children were attending schools in Korea. Due to the speed at which the North wished to pursue its eradication of illiteracy movement, the abandonment of Chinese characters was obviously essential. In South Korea, the language purists' push for a Hangul-only policy has been a much harder sell. Whether the official policy in the South was for a mixed Hangul and Chinese character orthography or for the exclusive use of Hangul, the public continued to use Chinese characters throughout. 1957 saw the enactment of another Hangul-only law, only to be reversed in 1964 due to intense criticism by those in the media and education. The language purists rallied and applied enough pressure to change policy again with the government proclamation of 1968 of an exclusive Hangul-only law to begin in 1970. Although Chinese characters have come in first place on list of targets of language purism movements in Korea, Sino-Korean words, or words translated or transliterated into Korean from Chinese, come in a very close second place. In either North or South Korea, purists argue against Sino-Korean words on two basic premises. For one, they are foreign words, and for second, many of them are difficult to understand. Furthermore, the common use of English and Japanese in the Korean language comes in the form of loanwords. These loanwords have come into use in the Korean language during the 20th century, when, after being a relatively isolated protectorate of China for hundreds of years, Korea came into contact with both Japan and the West, particularly the U.S. The Japanese colonial period of 1910 to 1945 witnessed a large influence of Japanese language into the Korean, including many words of the modern age. After 1945, loanwords from Japanese were a particularly target of purification efforts in Korea. The revival of Korean nationalism and a common animosity towards Japan were important motives. With regards to the success of language purism, especially in the South, most purists would agree that they would have a long way to go in ridding their national language of impure foreign elements. Despite the purists' less than objective attempts at viewing their language, the concept of language purification really begs the question as to whether true purification of a language is at all possible. In fact, language purification should also make us question what the true definition of language really is.